about it right now. We are AT&T. I'm Courtney with Cowboys Nation.
What is up? It's your boy Mike Tag. Welcome. I've been on a little break. Jimmy and I went on a little break, but we are back live. Going to make this happen. Welcome to the cave. You see, we changed a few things up. I got a few public service announcements. First of all, my mouse wasn't working very well, so I couldn't adjust stuff. I thought I was going to be in trouble, but we got it working. We're working on a few different things. Just to give you a show update. So it's now the cave. So it's the Cowboys cave. Jimmy D, I hope it don't offend you. But we own the website to this. Didn't own the website, didn't own the URL for Tag Nation. I couldn't get it. So it made it very difficult. So just figured for consistency with the show, with YouTube, with Facebook, just go ahead and consolidate it, make it into one. So if you're joining the show, make sure you guys hit that subscribe, hit the like. We've got a lot of things going on. You guys are familiar with us. Monday night, me and Jimmy D hold it down. Thursday, you kind of see I've been working a few things, had a couple guests on, work, this and that. But Kelly K9 and I are going to be doing a show every Thursday, strictly Cowboys. Got some Cowboy players that are going to be popping in every now and then. Got some stuff going on there. So it'll be more of a Cowboy dedicated show. What's up, my brother? And so we'll get that going. And then we always mix in some surprises here and there. So make sure, again, you guys got to hit that subscribe, hit the like, share it with Cowboys Nation. We got a ton going on. We're going to do some giveaways during the offseason. Jimmy, it's so boring in the offseason, isn't it?
It's a, you know what, but you know me, I'm kind of a jack of all trades. So I'm watching, some Jake Paul. I'm watching some, basketball and hockey and all that. One thing speaking of Cowboys Cave and, the Cowboys Cave broadcast network, yes. I owe Kelly K9 a go. We were going back and forth on Twitter the other night, Kelly K9 and I appreciate him. He made me feel good about myself because he was talking about, driving around and vibing to certain music. So I needed to be validated because I needed to know if it was okay to vibe to Barry Manilow while I'm cruising along in the car. And he said it was quite all right. So Kelly K9, thank you for making me feel good about myself.
Well, he's well-versed in music, and that's what you get. We're building a family here. So, hey, Jimmy D may be popping in on Thursdays. Kelly may be popping in on Mondays. We might do a trio here and there, but wanted to spread it up a little bit, spread the wealth and the love that we have. And really, you guys, we appreciate, obviously, all the subscribers, all the followers. But like I said, we're going to be doing some giveaways. I have Dallas Cowboy trivia on Thursday. I'm going to leave it up to Jimmy D on Monday. That's going to be your job. You figure out whatever topics. Maybe you want to do a potpourri or something like that. Maybe some vague topics. So we're going to mix in some stuff to have some fun and just we'll all get through the NFL offseason. But this is Jimmy. This is your time to shine, my brother, because now we're getting into your neck of the woods. You're getting into NBA playoffs going to be coming up. We got obviously hockey getting going. With the playoffs, they'll be coming around the corner. Baseball's getting going. I'm going to a spring training game tomorrow. I'm going to take a little business trip for the Phillies and the Blue Jays. Got very nice seats, so I'm looking forward to that.
Dunedin or Clearwater? Which one?
Where they play?
Clearwater, yeah. So Ultra Cowboy, is Patrick Kane a Ranger yet? I see that Chris Drury's trying to make moves, make it happen, clear up some cap space. He better make it happen. But, I did want to talk one thing about hockey quick. Washington Capitals forward TJ Oshie. I really hope you're listening, you punk-ass bitch. That cheap shot you did on Lindgren the other day, the boarding, and you pretended like it was all good. Shut up. That was a cheap shot. It was a cheap shot. Your ass should be suspended, and that's it, and that's the bottom line. I don't want to hear anything else about it, and everybody knows it. Anybody who's watching noticed it.
Well, I didn't see it, so I'm going to have to agree. We're going to get into some topics. The last thing I want to get on before we get going is I didn't know one of our 80s icons, Don Mattingly, is a bench coach for the Blue Jays.
When did that happen?
I don't know. That's what my brother told me.
9-time Gold Glove.
So I got my 2 Don Mattingly cards. We're sitting front row next to the dugout. So I'm tasking my kid to get me Don Mattingly's autograph on a couple cards. So hopefully that's awesome. True. Hopefully
Hitman was always the best. I remember seeing spring training with him down in Lauderdale, and he was doing autograph, and he would do everybody's autographs. So one dude wanted 2 autographs, and Mattingly said, "I'm only doing 1." And the guy called him an asshole. So Mattingly said, "You blew it, dude," and walked away. Wouldn't give anybody else an autograph. This dude almost got his ass kicked.
They probably, people probably let him have it. I used to love getting autographs. I mean, I grew up, like you grew up in South Florida. South Florida was really the hub for spring training. It's kind of shifted a lot over here now. Living in Tampa, there's so many teams in Tampa, but it's a lot of fun. But as a kid, man, we used to go to Fort Lauderdale Stadium, get the Yankees, and then the Mets. We go up to St. Lucie, and I remember getting the Braves. And Hank Aaron was, they always had the old timers there, and for spring training, and we waited hours for Hank Aaron. Sat by his car. That was when they had to walk through the crowd. And it was me, my brother, and another guy. And Hank Aaron came and he goes, "I'm not signing." And the guy, grown man, we were 14. I was probably 12, maybe 11, 12 years old. Grown man throws his book down on the ground. I've been waiting. I started crying. We're waiting all day. And Hank Aaron got all pissed off. He's like, "Fine, I'll sign your stuff." So thankfully, this guy was crying. We ended up getting a Hank Aaron signed card. So it was a lot of fun. It's good times at spring training, man. It is. I'm not a huge baseball guy, but I love spring training. It's just a cool experience to see him up close.
The best was prime time at Yankee spring training. So, he's jogging by everybody. I had the Sports Illustrated, and it was him on the front, prime time live. He jogging by everybody else. I had that sticking out. Stop for me. Autograph. Deion $, Sanders. Kept running. I was like,
yeah. Oh, he was that way. He did that with my brother. He was very selective on what he'd sign. Very particular. It'd be certain things that were promoting himself. That's what he always liked. But yeah, definitely it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm looking for, and I know Ultra Cowboy, Don Mattingly, great Yankee, didn't get the rings, but that team was crap. I mean, Jesus, that was the years that the Yankees were just they had a bunch of old guys and just really didn't have any pitching, and
that was it. There was no pitching. We had offense. I mean, Ricky Henderson, Dave Winfield, Don Mattingly. Pagarillo was hitting home runs.
Bam Bam when he was a rookie.
Yes, that's right. I tell you what, though, speaking of Winfield, I was at one time, the kids were chasing his car, right? He was leaving. Some kid grabbed the back bumper and got dragged about 15 yards. And Dave Winfield gets out of the car like, oh, because he's probably thinking lawsuit and all that stuff, But beautiful car. It was a gold BMW.
Yeah, I don't know if it was him or Ricky Henderson. One of them, they were, used to have to run, with the cars, like you said.
Yeah.
The guy had a bat and kept banging the car, and they stop and come out and start yelling. And, it was always a bunch of kids, and you always had, but some adults, some grown-up kids that were trying to get autographs. But anyway, I mean, I could talk for hours on it, but, we're off a week. Go ahead, Jimmy.
One footnote. Your brother would be the one now who's the adult who's screaming and yelling, hitting the bat on the car.
Well, we're going to the game. Now you got to get me talking. We were going to the game, and he's like, "What time are you going to be there?" I said, "Well, I got to work. We got to meet. I got some stuff I got to do. The game's at 1:00. I'll get there like 12:30. You can't do that. You got to get there early. We got to get the autographs. You don't believe these seats we have. We're right next to the dugout. We could get everything." I said, "I don't even know any of the players anymore." I said, "What am I going to do? In my 40s, we're going to go get autographs." And he's like, "No, you're wasting these tickets. They're wasted." He's going to give me a bunch of stuff. So it was, but then he said Mattingly was there. And I'm like, I'm not a Yankees fan. I grew up a Mets fan, but Don Mattingly was always kind of like the icon, of that era. So I figured, man, I hadn't gotten his autograph. So I figured if I can get it, I can get it. If not, no big deal. So,
hey, Ultra Cowboy, you just hang tight.
Hang tight with Uncle Cheech. We got Uncle Cheech is, it's the off season, so there's not a lot with Uncle Cheech. So he may talk about some Vegas stuff, but we're gonna have a thing called Ask Uncle Cheech. So this is your opportunity as a listener. You can ask Uncle Cheech. You want advice? You want this? You got a hot date? You don't know what to bring? Whatever you want. Financial advice. This man he knows it all, done it all. So he'll be on in a little bit. We're gonna get him on and get things rolling, but. Let's talk about. We'll go dip into a little NFL if you'd like, Jimmy. We've been off just trying to catch up on stuff. So a lot of news, and it always revolves. It always ties back to the Cowboys somehow, right? So Bobby Wagner, cut from the Rams, had a good year, but a salary
Yeah.
cap casualty. He's getting up there in age, but still a good veteran presence. Jalen Ramsey,
Yeah.
was linked to the Cowboys. The draft, they drafted Zeke instead of Ramsey, but they're saying, hey, is Dallas a landing spot? Then Micah Parsons got in trouble. I don't know if you read about with Ramsey because St. Brown, the Detroit Lions receiver, was recruiting him to come to the Lions, and Parsons tweeting us, ain't nobody going from LA to Detroit. So,
I didn't see that.
he got a lot of heat from the Detroit area for that tweet he put out.
Place is
But
a dump.
and then you've got all these potential cap casualties. Zeke, obviously, we've talked about
Yeah.
that ad nauseum. We're just going to let that thing play out. CJ Mosley, he was 21 million cap hit for the Jets. Byron Jones, we didn't talk about it, but there was some stuff that came out with him that was pretty interesting. Shaquille Griffin with the Jags, he just recently, he signed a big deal, but there could be, they're not in a cap trouble, but he's a big number. I don't know what they're going to keep him. And Frank Clark's the interesting one. He's been to the Pro Bowl. His numbers have kind of gone down. He's 29, but he's a $28 million cap hit to the Chiefs that are already way over the cap. So there's some names out there. If you're the Bears, I don't know how Atlanta's cap is, but if you got some spending money, there's some guys out there that you can go get.
We have $72 million available. We're second in the league with available funds. So, and it's funny because, speaking of, they're talking about Lamar Jackson to the Falcons, Jimmy Garoppolo. Honestly, Lamar Jackson should just say, I want out of Baltimore. He should just say it. I mean, he obviously doesn't want to be there.
Well, they don't want to pay him. They don't want to pay him what he wants. He wants the money that Watson got, and I just can't see you. I can't see you paying. I can't see any team paying him guaranteed money. He's been hurt. He lives with his legs. His arm isn't, in the best. Yeah, so I don't know if I would be giving. I don't know if I'd be giving up a lot of guaranteed money, all guaranteed to Jackson. So he's going to be in a tight spot.
He is, but my thing is, I think that he's just sticking it to Baltimore right now. He wants out, and he's just going to keep upping the ante, and somebody's going to pay him. I hope it's not. I don't want any part of that. Right?
Yeah.
Just like I don't want any part of Garoppolo. Another guy is hurt all the time.
He's a winner. I like Garoppolo.
I like
him. The right team. Yes. I like him for the right team. And I saw a comment, we're not signing a legit free. What's a legit free agent? That's what I would love to know. Was a legit free agent Dorrance Armstrong, who the Cowboys got and got for some good money, and for his performance, he outlived with a contract that they gave him. Is a free agent. Fowler, they got him on a easy deal. He was impact. You know what I mean? Curse was he was a free agent. I mean, they re-signed a lot of their own guys. So if you're saying maybe they're not getting a lot of outside guys, all right, maybe. But with free agency, I never get excited. I never get too up in arms because everything gets linked back to the Cowboys. But I want to see him make some smart moves. I think the offense, I don't think there's a whole lot they have to do. I wouldn't mind seeing another receiver unless they drafted, unless they're playing as a drafted receiver in the first round. But if they brought T.Y. Hilton back, I'd be happy. Beckham's still the name that's out there, and if they get him, depending on kind of the deal, but you've seen the Rams went all in on free agency, and where'd that get them? The Bills signed Von Miller for all that money. Where'd they get him? Right. So it's not. I'd much rather see them get Parsons to a long-term deal, CeeDee Lamb, Diggs, get all their guys taken care of, and then build the pieces around them. I don't think they need all these aging superstars that you're going to pay a lot of money to. I don't know if they need that. Now, if they get Wagner for a nice deal, or Ramsey he's young enough. You get him for a good deal, then I'm all for it.
And it's funny because in addition, we're talking about soap operas. Lamar. What about Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, Rams got the Super Bowl. The Rams got the Super Bowl the year before. I'm talking about they signed all these guys that they were getting in and they were going all in. Yeah. So I'll clarify that for you, Ultra Cowboy. They did all this stuff. Last season they were going to go all in again and get all these guys. So
yeah,
what did it do? They got 4 wins. They got a good draft. So.
Well, and it's funny though because Aaron Rodgers is like you said, it gets back to the Cowboys. He's
Yeah.
been linked to the Cowboys too, which is I think it's
I
comical.
don't.
It's
Well,
not going to happen.
I don't. He's in a. He's. What is he? Is he still in like hiding somewhere? What's he doing? What's is
Yeah,
he?
yeah, I
Sleeping
think
in
he's.
darkness? Is he
I
out of
think
the
he's still.
darkness?
I think he's still in hiding. Like he's going on a 4-day meditation break.
Meditation or whatever the hell he's doing.
It's solitary confinement is more like it.
The thing with Rodgers, though, man, he could still sling it.
Of
So
course.
I don't want to. I don't want to hate on. I think if he goes to the right team, I think if he ended up in Miami, if he ended up,
Yes.
even I don't think the Raiders so much, but I'm trying to think of some other teams that were on the cusp that are like a quarterback away. Let's say he ended up out in San Francisco. I mean that's plausible. I mean he could do some damage with the right team, and I would say with Dallas. The problem is they can't, it wouldn't happen. But let's say Dak was a free agent or if he was at the end of his deal and we had a team that, was there and, you said, hey, I can get you Aaron Rodgers for 3 years. It would be hard to turn it down. I'm not saying anything against Dak, but it would be hard. Just like when Tom Brady, when he was leaving New England and we kept doing that, the contract and we kept franchising him. I'm like, man, I said, why don't they just go get Brady? I mean, if you get a Super Bowl out of it,
that's it.
It's worth it. If you don't think the quarterback and from what some of the fans, they don't think this is the quarterback that's going to get them a Super Bowl, and that's the critical thing. Quarterback, you got here, and then you got a bunch in the middle, and then obviously you've got your bottom one. So it's hard. You got to put the pieces around them, and it was funny that what's his name? Stephen Jones came out. I guess I didn't see it, but there was an article, so I don't know what's bullshit and what's not. There was an article that said they had finally admitted they made a mistake on the Amari Cooper deal because they basically, they never got a receiver to replace him, and it just that was an Achilles heel of the team, all year was that other receiver spot opposite of CD.
Well, getting back to what you're saying about Rod, I think the best landing spot for him is Miami. That's where I go. Warm weather, look at Tua.
They signed Bobby Wagner last year, my friend. Go ahead.
Tua.
You might be partaking some of that rum that I was in the Caribbean, but go ahead.
Tua's, he's got his issues, unfortunately. I feel badly for the guy. Bridgewater, he's out anyway, and he's not a storm quarterback. Aaron Rodgers, perfect landing spots, Miami. I think that's where he, goes to ride off into the sunset, and I think it'll do them a world of good. I think they take over the AFC East just like that if he goes down there.
It would be. I mean, that's a good spot. I don't know if they'll do it. I mean, but it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see what happens because they are. I mean, they're a quarter. I think they're a team that's a quarterback away. Now I said that about the Broncos, and look where that got me.
Right, exactly. You see, I was right about the Broncos. Come on. And another thing too, what I wanted to bring up, and this is something that gets back to what we talked about earlier in the season multiple times when I was getting pissed off and wound up about it. Alvin Kamara played all season. Am I right or wrong about that? This past season, I don't think
he didn't resign OBJ because he tore his ACL, dude. What are you talking about? This guy, my God.
Come on, Ultra Cowboy says what he feels.
I know.
Love Ultra Cowboy.
My God. Anyway.
So Kamara, so my man Calvin Ridley, no longer a Falcon. He's with Jacksonville, but he gets jammed for betting on for a matter of 4 days. Didn't bet against the Falcons. He gets a year.
Yeah.
Kamara now, for the second time, something's coming out that basically is, implicates him, and he's bragging on tape about how he tuned somebody up. What's going to happen now? Where's the justice here? It's very selective with the NFL, and that's what drives me crazy. That's pissing me off.
Gambling is a bigger penalty than all that other stuff, but yet all they do is advertise gambling.
Right, exactly.
All over everything, and they're worried about Calvin Ridley betting a few bucks on some basketball or hockey or some fight or something like that. It's idiotic. It's idiotic,
and
I don't understand it. I mean, it makes zero sense. It's the same thing. I don't want to go back way in history, but you can go back to Ray Rice. I mean, he got 2 games. The only reason he got more is because a video came out.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. Like you said, they're making so much money on the DraftKings, the advertisement or whatever they got going, all these leagues, not just the NFL, right?
Yeah.
And now that and I'm not going to get deep in this, now that the government's getting their vig, they're getting paid. That's why everything's okay, right?
Oh yeah.
And it trickles down. All these leagues are making their money off the deal. So this guy's tuning people up. He better get at least 6 games. If Ridley got jammed for a whole year, and we got screwed on the deal.
You should get. I mean, if you're going to put Ridley on that again, Ridley didn't bet on his team, right?
No, he didn't. He bet one bet for us. He bet for the Falcons to win, right?
Nah, he never bet him to lose or anything like that.
No, exactly. Kind of like Pete Rose.
It's the same thing with Pete Rose. Daniel Corey. Who the hell is that?
That's
my God. He's got to be drunk. He's got to be drunk. My God. I don't even know if I want to talk to Uncle Cheech. It might get a little wild in here.
I think it's going to be great. I can't wait. So we'll see what happens. I mean, look at, I guess Deshaun Watson, well, he got 12 games for, getting some special massages. I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Ultra, I don't know. Do you think he has like a split personality? Doesn't he ride Dax Jock sometimes in that, or am I thinking of someone else?
I don't know. I think you might have a mistake with somebody else.
Maybe for someone I can't remember. But I don't know. Yeah, the Jaguars.
Yes.
The Jaguars got to deal with that, and it's unfortunate. I mean, he's still got life left, so it'll be interesting. Stephon Diggs' name came up, with the Cowboys. I don't know if you hear anything up in New York, if that has any validity to it, or if that's just media and social media hype.
I haven't. I mean, you got to remember, I'm just an hour north of New York City, so Buffalo is I'm 6.5, 7 hours from there. So I know quite a few people on social media, and my wife's family's from up there. I haven't heard anything about that.
Oh, all right.
But I don't listen to the sports radio. Yeah.
We'll move on. And we're going to talk about this, and then I want to bring in Uncle Cheech, and then we're going to run on the flip side, because I want to bring Uncle Cheech because he's a boxing aficionado. And we had the Paul Fury fight. Did you watch it?
Jimmy?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You watched it. So the funny thing is with these fights is they're fun, right? It's a lot of hype. They always say, "Oh, the guy, he's got no experience. He's a YouTuber and this and that." But then I was listening to the broadcast, and him and his brother were like state champion wrestlers at Ohio, and when they were in high school. Amateur wrestling, Jim. Amateur. So I'm starting to figure out these guys are. I mean, if you're even if they didn't win state, they placed whatever. If you're an upper echelon wrestler in Ohio, you're a serious dude. So these guys have some athletic ability. These guys have some workout. These guys have some drive. And that dude's, Jake Paul, he's improved every time. Now he's fought a bunch of tomato cans, right? He's fought some has-been people. And now they said, all right, he's fighting this younger guy. He's got some experience. He's Fury, he's the Big Fury's little brother. And it was a good fight. It was better than I thought. I thought Boxer was going to just beat the hell out of Jake Paul, right? He's finally in with a professional. He's going to, he was going to get it, but this guy was younger, so he wasn't as professional as what I heard he was. But it was a good fight. It could have went either way. I think that you could say, Fury won, no argument from me. I thought maybe it was a little closer in the scorecards only because of the knockdown. I thought that brought it to a 1 point, 2 point victory for him if you're going to go that way. But I thought the referee, I don't know if you've noticed that referee was terrible in that fight.
You know what? Before we get into logistics of the fight, I just want to know, Mike Tagg, you're a social media influencer. When are you going to jump on the boxing circuit? Take care of your business.
I'll do some wrestling. I'll do some wrestling if one of these guys want to get in the squared circle. Not Jake Paul. I definitely wouldn't. I might wrestle him if he was in Ohio. But I'm down for some wrestling. I don't know. These guys, man. I give them credit. Have you got some teenagers? You ever fight? You do a little boxing with them?
Yes, it's fun. Yeah.
Well, I don't know how your stamina is, but about maybe 30 seconds in a fight, and I'm about ready to. I got to put them away dirty, otherwise.
That's right.
Hurt.
Well, I'm a finely tuned athletic machine, and the kids must understand that I'm going to whoop their ass. I don't care. I got no emotional attachment, right? But getting back to the fight, so Fury threw double the punches, and he landed roughly just over a quarter of them. Now, Paul was much more efficient. I mean, he threw half the punches, but he landed like 35% of them, and the knockdown. So I think the decision could have went either way. And I give credit. He's swallowing his pride and dealing with it online. Everybody's ripping him and laughing at him. Guess what? He's laughing all the way to the bank, so they can laugh at him all he wants.
Well, that's the end of the day, yeah. But the only thing I didn't like about Paul is in the post fight, he said, "Well, a little injury here, I had that." And when they interviewed him like a few minutes ago, before the fight, he's like, "Oh, 100%, no excuses, no this and that." I mean, they're going to fight again, and they're going to make a bunch of money. So at the end of the day, they win. But it's really it's crazy where boxing has gone, because boxing was just such a great sport in that 80s, 90s, around that time with, in heavyweights was Larry Holmes and Hagler and Leonard. And, then you get Tyson and Spinks and all that. It's just kind of died away. It's more of a European and, Latin
Russian.
sport,
Right. Get those big ass Russian guys out there with foreheads this big out there fighting. I remember growing. You were always a big boxing fan when you were younger.
Always had fights. I mean, it was an event when they had the big fights in, and it's just kind of gotten away from. I think most of the Americans that are that were boxing are probably playing football, basketball, baseball, some other sports, and you just don't really have the bigger heavyweight. We were always driven by the heavyweights, and that kind of it faded away. I think Lennox Lewis was kind of like the last guy. Now he wasn't American, but he was like the last big, guy that fought everyone. And Fury, I mean, he's done good, but he's been known to fight. I mean, there's not much out there. So anyway.
And it's all, like you said, it's all these unsanctioned fights, celebrity fights. I mean, these guys are making loads of money doing their boxing thing. So he's making mad excuses.
A lot of excuses. Just say you got your ass whooped. And there's nothing wrong with it. He lost a fight. I mean, in boxing, that happens. So let's see now we got this new overlay, so I might have to make some changes, but let's try and bring old Uncle Cheech in. Make sure, he might have something to say on this boxing thing. So let's see what we got. Let's go here. There we go. We can do it. We can do a what's up, Uncle Cheech?
How you doing, guys?
Good to be back. Good.
It's great to have you
here in the cave. I don't know if you heard us. We're talking a little bit about boxing, and I know boxing's near and dear to your heart.
Well, I watched the fights yesterday.
What'd you think?
Melina came over. We had nice linguine, my favorite linguine, white clam sauce, Coke with no ice.
Very nice.
Out there watch the fights. You got two mediocre fighters. But it was a competitive fight. Like, I agree with you. I thought it could have went either way. But I'll tell you what, that Jake Paul, he's smart. He's got top billing for a couple times, making all his money. Who could ask for more? I'll get in there and fight any of them for the money they're getting right now, and I'm 71 years old.
Well, and the thing is, he's made it competitive. He's made the fights competitive. So I think
fight.
Yeah, he's not. He's not
a meatball.
Well, if you put him in there with somebody I don't know what's he weigh.
He's a heavyweight. What do you mean?
He's like 180 pounds. He's like a light heavyweight.
No, I thought he was 205. I thought
you put him in there with that guy who fought the fight before, Babaku. What's his name? Jack.
Yeah.
The fight before the title.
Yeah.
That Babaku Jack. He probably would have beat his brains in.
Well, I tell you, did you see the prelim fights were all really good?
Oh, they only lasted 10 minutes.
I know, but they were good fights. They had the one guy that was out there dancing and he got dropped real quick, but then he came back and won. So all right. We've got, if you're listening, got Ask Uncle Cheech. So you can ask anything you want, Uncle Cheech, and any advice. You got a question.
You can ask me anything but politics and religion.
Yeah,
wait, I'm going to ask the first question.
You got a problem with your love life? I'll tell you exactly what to do.
You said you're 71. I thought you were 50 something. I need to know this successful way to remain youthful.
Let me tell you something. You get a woman like Maria keeps coming around, keeps the young, baby. Young. Remember, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Thank you. That's sound advice. I love that.
All right.
Now we got another question of did you see Jack Dempsey fight?
Never saw him fight. I started watching the fights probably the Muhammad Ali era, Joe Frazier, up until probably Lennox Lewis. That's when I really got away from it. But
Now, would
anybody
you say
like that big Fury guy, the heavyweight today, I'll tell you what, if he got in there with George Foreman or Holmes or Ali, he wouldn't be around too long.
That's what we were talking about that yesterday. He said Danny and I were discussing it, my brother, and we were going through the fights. He thought Fury would beat Tyson. And then I said maybe because Tyson had trouble with bigger guys, but I think Larry Holmes would have beat the hell out of him.
Oh, he would have beat the hell out of him. I'll tell you, if any of you guys, if you go on YouTube, there's a lot of old fights you can watch. You want to watch Jerry Cooney, Larry Holmes. Everybody thought Jerry Cooney was going to kill Larry Holmes. They're going to kill him to death. They put him in there. They set up all these fights with has-beens, Kenny Norton and a couple other guys that he knocked stiff that were made for him. Oh, he hits like a mule, all this baloney. I was the only one. I made a fortune. Oh, he's going to kill him, this and that. If he wasn't a white guy, he would have never been in the ring with him, number one.
Yeah.
Holmes dropped him, I think, in the fourth round. Gets up. A couple rounds later, he hits Holmes in the nuts. He was fighting dirty. And finally, Holmes finished him off, I think, about the 11th round. But if you get a chance to watch some of these fights on YouTube, there's guys.
You watch our show, of course.
You probably never heard of. I'll tell you what, one of the greatest fighters that you'd probably never heard of was a featherweight named Salvador Sanchez. If you get a chance, Sanchez versus Gomez. Wilfredo Gomez at the time was like 56-0, 50 knockouts. Everybody was scared to death of him.
Yeah.
Sanchez, up and coming, Sanchez just beat the living hell out of him. Career cut short, got killed in a car accident. Could have been one of the greatest pound for pound of all time. If you got a chance, the entertaining fight, he ruins Wilfredo Gomez.
Yeah. Well, that's why I used to love the old fight. I don't go back that far, but Marvin Hagler, Leonard, Hearns, those trilogies, those fights, Duran. There was so much great boxing.
Oh, Roberto Duran, when he was a lightweight, he was the most feared fighter in the world when he was a lightweight. When he started moving up in weight, the power's not there. Of course, he was a little older, but when he was a lightweight, he dominated. And back then, they didn't have lightweight, junior middleweight. Back then, they had lightweight, welterweight, middleweight, light heavyweight.
Yeah.
You didn't have 20 different champions. You had one.
One pork chop.
One.
We got a question. Do you bet on UFC fights? I know you watch them, but do you put any?
I watch them all the time now. I really don't. I'm really not familiar with any of the fighters and anybody. I don't think I've ever seen hardly anybody undefeated in there because at any time, if you make a mistake and you get caught in the chokeholds, you're done.
Yeah.
You know what I've been watching? Like bare knuckles. Very brutal.
Now, Uncle Cheech, do you think that UFC killed boxing?
Kind of, yeah. It's like you don't have the good fighters like you had before. You got a few in the lighter weights, but your heavyweights, not taking
the heavyweights drive. They drive boxing.
Huh?
The heavyweights drive boxing historically in the United States, at least.
Well, the lighter weights are the best fights, though.
Oh no, I agree. But what gets all the what used to drive it all obviously was the Tysons, the Holmes.
When you had caliber of those fighters.
Yes,
absolutely.
And you had guys with personality. When they come out, it was almost like to a degree
Oh,
professional
that
wrestling.
one
Their
dude,
personality.
the heavyweight champion's a heavy bag with eyeballs. That's all he is now.
No, I'm here to. Yeah, someone, one of our lovely listeners, had said Tyson Fury's hand speed's no joke.
If you think he's got hand speed, you're a joke.
I think Deshaun Watson's masseuse had a quicker hand speed.
Yeah,
Yeah, here's that Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence. That'll be a good fight.
yeah.
Those two, I'm familiar with their names, and they both look very talented.
Yeah, no, they're getting. I mean, like I said, the other weights they're getting there. So, but promoters killed boxing. Do you think the promoters killed boxing? Don King.
Oh, Don King killed boxers.
Yeah,
he ruined Mike Tyson.
Yeah, they were all broke.
He was never the same when he went with Don King. When he left, what the hell was his name? Kevin Rooney.
Yeah,
he was never the same. And I'll give you another video to watch if you go on YouTube. Larry Holmes versus Randall Tex Cobb. Randall Tex Cobb was the toughest man alive. Toughest man. If you had to fight till the last man standing, that would be him. I'll tell you right now. Holmes hit him so many times. Howard Cosell made that his last fight. He wasn't going to commentate boxing no more.
Now again, wait until we go off the air to jump on YouTube to watch those fights. Uncle Cheech.
Yeah, you got to be right to promote. So let me ask you this: get off boxing a little bit. So I don't want to put you on the spot. You see some of the odds out for the Super Bowl. Next year's Super Bowl champion, and you got these teams in there. What is your thought process going into that? Are you going to just take some money and put it on a long shot that you saw potential? Or would you put your money on a Chiefs, Eagles, or all these other teams?
I told you 2 weeks ago who I picked.
Who are you going to take?
I put $1,000 on each of them. I told 35 to 1, and it was my mistake. That's 35,000 you get for a $1,000 bet.
So Detroit and Jaguars, is that what it was?
Detroit and the Jaguars, right? 2 weeks ago they were at 35 to 1. I don't know what they are now, but I already laid my money out.
Yeah. And
I'm not going to go in there. I was at the racetrack Saturday. I'm not going to even walk up to the window to bet a 2 to 1 shot, 3 to 1 shot. Ain't worth my walk.
Not worth the time. Not worth it. Did you win any money at the track, or you donate?
No, I donate. I bought oats. We sat in our box. Got a little box there with the TV. Had my man go get me a couple beers every once in a while, a little popcorn. Had a good time. I'm not a real heavy bettor at the horses.
Yeah, it's a good experience. It's
a lot of fun.
Yeah. I like the trotters.
Yeah. So we got one other question, and I know that you're a big baseball fan. I think if my memory's right, you're Bob Gibson, so you're a pitcher. You love the pitchers.
Well, back then I used to watch baseball a lot when I was a kid.
Yeah. Well, let me throw this at you. We got a question. And you may not be aware of it because you're saying, what do you think of the new clock for pitchers in baseball? If they don't throw their pitch beforehand, they can get penalized with a ball.
Well, I like that idea. First, I've heard of it, but I like it.
So you like that?
They take your time. They fix their hat. They wipe their hands. Bob Gibson used to get up there and just mow the guy down. 3 pitches, it was finished. Matter of seconds. But I haven't followed baseball since high school.
No, 86 Mets.
No, but you know what it is too. I think that they realize with the younger generation, you can't be dragging games on for 3.5, 4 hours. That's why.
Well, and look at like YouTube and TikTok, and the biggest thing for them are reels. They want you to get everything in a couple minutes. Get your point across and get this and that. So it's definitely a different generation. I need a time clock for the mother-in-law. How about that? Would you agree with that, Uncle Chief?
Yeah. I'll tell you what, though, Saudi Arabia, remember where them fights were?
Yeah.
It's going to be the hub of sports. I mean, they got the best venue.
Yeah.
They went in there. They took golf over.
Yeah.
Now they're going to take the big boxing matches. They're all going to be over there. Not in Las Vegas. Over there.
WrestleMania. The
Everything.
wrestling's over there.
I
Is
watched
it?
MMA
Are they
the
going to do
night
WrestleMania over there?
before. MMA the night before they had was out of Saudi Arabia.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man.
They got the big horse races. They ruining the PGA. Now they're giving the guys more money. They're leaving the PGA. I don't play golf anymore, but hey, money talks. They got
No,
plenty over there.
Right.
That's the way it
Beautiful
is.
facilities.
Jimmy, I think there's one last question for Uncle Cheech. I'll let you hammer it.
Let's see. What? Whoa. Which one?
From Ultra.
I thought we hit. Oh.
You missed that. I'm trying to give you the last question.
This one?
Yeah.
What Uncle Cheech? So Ultra Cowboy wants to know what are the odds that they find Jimmy Hoffa?
Let me tell you something. They want you to disappear. You're going to disappear. So I say, no chance.
No chance. No chance. So.
None at all.
Can't make you
Good, man.
disappear, Roy. You disappear.
Well, this is fun with Uncle Cheech. Uncle Cheech, I don't know if you heard, we the family's expanding. We got the Cowboys Cave, network. We're live on Thursday nights. We got myself and Kelly K9. We're talking a lot of Cowboys and all that. So maybe you tune in. Maybe you pop in every now and then. Jimmy's gonna be popping in. We got a family here. Now we've got a family. What, 5? 4? What are we up to? 4? We're actually going to be 5. I got
5.
one more little treat I'm going to get for you that we're going to have for our draft analyst. We got an expert coming in on draft. So the family's expanding, the brand's expanding, and we've got a lot of good things going on. So Uncle Cheech, I appreciate you jumping on. We'll see you right next week. We're going to make this a routine, get some insight from Uncle Cheech, talk a variety of topics. We had a lot of boxing this week because we got the fight. We're getting closer to free agency. I know you've got some thoughts on that and the draft and all that. So we're going to have a lot of fun. So we will see you next week, Uncle Cheech.
All right.
All right.
Sempre la familia.
All right. Take care.
See you later, Uncle Cheech. Oh, I like that.
I did. That was a lot of fun. I got to teach Uncle Cheech the camera views. He kept looking. So I have his head every now and then. We got to work on Uncle Cheech. He's an expert. He's not a producer or any of that kind of stuff. But he's funny.
Oh, he's the best. I love it. But you see, you guys can ask any questions, sports, life related, and he's got all the answers.
He's got the answers to everything. It's a lot of fun. And this is it. I mean, the time. This is a very slow football week, and we're football driven. We're football driven, so we got to get into some other subjects, and that's the beauty of Jimmy D. He's carrying the weight. Let's get into a little bit of baseball. You have any thoughts on your Yankees or in baseball in general? Spring training's coming. Is there anything we need to look for?
I mean, what I'm hoping with the Yankees, it's still spring training. It's still early. It's still young. What I really want them to do, they've had a couple prospects. They had Anthony Volpe and Jason Dominguez. They got to get them staying in the majors this year and playing. Those are two guys. You got an outfielder and Volpe. He can play second base. There's no reason they shouldn't be playing those two guys. That's where I'm at right now with the Yankees. And I know we're gonna have people chirping about the Astros and this and that. It's early yet, man. But that's my hope. Play the young guys.
So is it legit in saying that the Blue Jays are the team to beat in the East?
I don't think so. I mean, I think we have just as much shot as we have just as much shot as anybody else. I mean, but again, I'm looking. We need to build some, pull up from the farm system like we used to. You got Stanton every year who takes his summer break. He's always got some kind of injury where he misses 2 months in the summer. All the money he's getting paid. Judge, I'm glad that we re-signed him. I love him to death. He needs to show up in the playoffs. That's a problem. Astros made him look like a
Ultra Cowboys going to throw him, Mattingly, and Dak in the same conversation.
Yeah, and and Matty Ice, and that's a problem, right? So I mean, as far as the one thing I did want to, and we'll get back to that in a second. Something we talked about a few weeks ago, and everybody was kind of laughing at me, and I'm going to say it like this:
Jimmy.
I said it, you all heard it. And God is my witness. What did I tell you was going to happen when Kyrie Irving went out to Dallas? And what is happening, my friends? Luka comes back from injury. They're 1-5 playing, or 1 win, 4 losses playing together. And they blew a 27-point lead The punk ass LeBron James and the lowly Lakers, who aren't even in the playoffs this year. That happened yesterday. So again, I told you guys that was not going to work out. I'm not rooting against the Mavericks. That ain't the issue. I just told you that guy's a cancer, and I knew it was going to happen.
No, you did. No one wanted. I think I can't remember the people who were laughing at you on here because I know there was a bunch, and we'd have to go back and cut the tape up. Maybe we'll have to go find it. We'll make some reels out of it, but maybe we need to do that. So we'll get it. But yeah, unfortunately for me, I haven't really followed a lot of basketball. I was out of the country, and so I missed a lot of stuff. Baseball, the intriguing thing is that clock. I agree with your point. I think they've got to speed up the game. They've got to, they've got to get it moving a little bit faster because I think you do lose some of that generation. And I mean, even for me, if I go to a game, 2 hours, great. I don't want to sit there for 3 hours. I don't want to sit there all day watching baseball because these guys are taking a half hour and the pitching changes and all of that other stuff. Now I'm going to sound like an old man. It's like back in my day. I mean, you threw a complete game. You were embarrassed not to throw. A pitcher was ashamed if he didn't, at least get to the ninth inning and let the closer do it. Now they've got situation guys and this and that. So
it's all situational. Right.
It'll be interesting to see. Hopefully it improves it.
And
some of your Yankees are the new Cowboys. This guy Ultra Cowboy, he can't be a Cowboys fan. That's gotta be hidden. He's gotta be like an Eagles fan.
Ultra Cowboy, you're an Eagles fan?
He's gotta be
disappointed, bro. Come on. And you know what?
Hey man, I love Ultra Cowboys. I love
Ultra Cowboys.
So I'm not hating on him, but you can't be a Cowboys fan. He's gotta be in disguise because the Eagles hate me. There's been a lot of hate coming at me, and I love it. They're so thin-skinned, it's just too easy to aggravate them. But anyway, go ahead.
If you lived in Philly and you lived in that dump and you had nothing going on, you'd be thin-skinned too. But getting back to what you're saying about baseball, my biggest thing is you hit the middle of the seventh inning and you can't get booze anymore. This game better end quick or I'm gone. You know what I mean? That's my biggest problem.
Yeah. No, I get it. Well, he's a realist. So what are you a fan of? That's what I'm trying to understand. You're a realist. Well, if you're a realist, 31 teams a year are failures. So I mean, it's just figures what your perception is. So I don't.
And I did because I know we're kind of bouncing around a little bit here, and I apologize. It's just we have different. The Mavs are built for the playoffs, but Dan, again, it's what I said a few weeks ago. I don't think that Irving was the answer. I just see him being a problem child. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe in a couple of weeks I'm eating my words, and you guys are laughing at me again. But at the end of the day, I knew it. He was a mess here in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And he raised hell in this locker room. In Brooklyn, look at them. I mean, they sold the farm. They're done. They're rebuilding. Right.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. I give it one more plug, if I could, Jimmy. So just for the channel, because we're trying to obviously
absolutely
platform. We've got an array during the off season of interviews scheduled. So Barry Switzer, we're not talking about some schlubs here. We're talking about Super Bowl winning coach with the Cowboys, the last man to hold up the Lombardi, Barry Switzer. So we got him coming into the cave. That's going to be dropping soon. Working on, I thought this was an interesting one. Some of you younger guys probably don't know him, but Craig Morton, quarterback for the Cowboys. He was in that era with Roger Staubach when Tom Landry was rotating quarterbacks back and forth. So, and then he went on to the Denver Broncos. We faced him in the Super Bowl, and it didn't work out so well for him. He's getting, we're tightening that up. My man Kelly K9, he was working overtime. He got George Teague is going to be coming into the game, defend the star. So, and then an interesting one, I'm still working it out. Everything has a tie to the Cowboys. So it's Paul Palmer. And I don't know if you know Jimmy Paul Palmer. The only thing he played college at Temple. He finished second in the Heisman when they weren't on TV, but he got drafted first round by the Chiefs. And there was a story, you can go back and YouTube Paul Palmer. There was a story that came out that it was true, that he basically was unhappy with the coaches and he was going to just fumble. And so the coach gets fired, so they lose the game.
No kidding.
Yes. Yeah. And so he got in the doghouse, apologizing this and that. But the significance with him and going to, it always ties back to the Cowboys. When the Cowboys traded Herschel Walker, we ended up getting him to replace Herschel Walker in the season. So he was our running back in 1989. He had a 100-yard game and our only win against Washington. So I think if you guys been listening long enough, you know I'm a fan of running backs. Running backs are always my favorite players on the Cowboys. So that's why I always remembered Paul Palmer. He wasn't my favorite player by any means, but he was someone that I remembered and reached out to and took a shot. Throw Hail Mary sometimes and see if I can get him in the cave. Said he would, but he's not etched in stone yet. But he verbally committed. We just got to work out the schedule. So we got a lot of things going on in the channel. We're working on some wrestlers, working on some professional wrestlers from Monday Night from Jimmy.
Yes.
We got to work on some baseball players, working on some other stuff. So we've got a lot of things going on. This channel, we're trying to grow it every day. So that's what I'm saying. You guys make sure if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe, share it with your friends, share it with Cowboys fans, baseball fans, any kind of fans that just like to have a good time, because we're going to bring it. Right, Jimmy D?
And you know what it is, too? Again, we love all the interaction. That's the best part. So you tell your friends, hey, these guys will answer anything. They'll throw anything up there. And with Uncle Cheech, you can really get anything answered that you want. So, man, we just have a good time. It's fun. And it's pretty cool. I think it's great just getting all these big shots into the Cowboys cave.
We're getting quite the reputation in the cave. We're getting some love. And it's funny because, Coach Switzer, I reach out to, he even just says it makes me nervous. And we had the interview, we had to break it up into two because we had some technical difficulties and I was so upset. I'll get into details on it later one day once we're done. So we had to redo it. And my brother was like, hey, he goes, just reach out to him and see if he'll do the video, because first he said he just want to do the phone. And so we we're going to do a phone interview. And I'm like, when he just said it, I said, man, you know who I got to call? It's like, that's Coach Switzer, man. He still makes me nervous. It's like I get scared. Like he had that personality. I wanted to play the video, but I'm having trouble with my. I put a video on it. I'm having trouble with my mouse isn't working. So
Technology sucks.
I know. Well, I'm trying to get it. I can see the thing, but my mouse is having an issue for some reason. But anyway, it was a video of Barry Switzer. One of my favorite scenes, and we talked about it, was the Philadelphia 4th and 1 with the, I don't know, can you see those things, Jimmy, or no, where it says graphics?
Let me check it out.
If you can see it. It looks like an interview, like a press conference. I don't know if that's it, but it's one of my favorites. It looks like he's at the podium.
I think this is it. Let me give it a shot.
See if you got it.
We kicked their ass today. We played like that last time. It wouldn't have to even come down to a 4th and foot. So let's bury that son of a okay, before I take that mic.
How about that, Cowboy, last January? But
we kicked.
Oh, you did it. So that's. I don't know, man.
That was great. Oh, that was good.
I found all the. So I got some clips. We're gonna have some fun. I mean, I tell you what, he is just he's a great dude. And like I say, he made me nervous, but he softened up. And then I had a technical issue. I'll just tell you real quick because we got like 2 minutes and then we'll get rolling. So we're interviewing and I asked him the first question and we go through it and it's, the standard question about getting the call from Jerry, the whole thing. And then I get into my next question where I knew, and I was sincere with it. And I don't want to spoil the question, but I asked him a question and he really appreciated it. And now he loosened up and he's getting into it and we're talking and I'm watching the thing and the live thing went away and it said connection lost. And I'm like, and so I started like moving things around and I'm going and I told you, he makes me nervous just hearing his voice. He still has that very unique, that sound. And, he's talking, he's going, advising me. I got to build up the nerve to tell him. I just got to do it. So I let him go for like a minute. I said, man, Coach Switzer, dude, I got to come clean. I said, I don't know what happened. The power just went out. I lost all my internet connection on because we were doing a phone interview. So the phone just kept going. So, that was working fine. So if I would have had a recorder in there, I could have picked it up. And then I'm like, he's going to just tell me to screw off and I'm not doing this again. So he was so nice. He's like, oh man, just call me. I said, well, I'm going out of town next week. I said, can I just call you next week? And so I called him today and he's like, yeah, just let's, try and do later in the week. So like,
that's
man,
cool.
Day and time, man. I'll be I'll be on. I don't care what it is. But it was a lot of fun.
I'd be
It was
calling in sick to work that day, huh?
I'd have to. Yeah, we did it after work, but if it, I was like, hey man, I need a 30-minute break. The good thing is I was able to save the first part, so I can kind of mesh it together. And like you saw one of those clips. I'm gonna put some clips in there, and I got some pictures. So I'm gonna do it up right before we drop it. But we've got a lot of great interviews. And if you missed any of the interviews that you haven't seen, go to cowboyscave.com or go to YouTube. You can find it on YouTube in our playlist. But if you go to cowboyscave.com and go to player interviews, we have a catalog of all the interviews that we've done with Larry Cole and Rod Martin and Charlie Waters and, Brad Johnson. My brother actually messaged Brad Johnson today because Warren Sapp was talking about him in an interview. So, I mean, just good people and a lot of fun. And it's a good time. It's a good time.
The website was redone. It looks great. And it's funny you talk about, technical difficulties, which remember back when we first started this a year ago, just over a year ago, here and there, we'd have technical difficulty drive us nuts. And, finally, for the most part, figured it out.
No, the show's come a long way. We've got the audio working. I want to do where we take calls, but for some reason, the audience, that's what we lived on, Jimmy. When we called the radio stations or we called shows and podcasts, they weren't podcasts back then, they were radio shows. Man, it was the best part was the callers. You just kind of mix it up. You talk about questions, and I've tried to do the calls. We just haven't had the audience warm up enough to do it. We've had some calls, but you want it to you want it to get some rhythm. So I figured, you know what, we'll just keep doing what we're doing and then hopefully it'll grow. But, we've surpassed 1,300 subscribers, which, I mean, a year ago today, we were at like 200. So it's come a long way. It's been a lot of fun. And really, you don't know what's going on with Twitter and all the crazy stuff that's going on there because I don't even see a lot of the tweets. I don't see any of your tweets. If you tweet much, Jimmy, I never see your tweets. I don't see a lot of Kelly K9. I don't see his that much anymore.
It's ridiculous. I don't get it. And it's funny because sometimes I don't see yours and you have a fair, a really large, base. I mean, I tweeted several times on Saturday. I was pissed Saturday. At my New York Rangers. I was so disgusted. And then Kelly Kane and I were actually going back and forth later in the night. I happened to stumble on one of his. But it's weird, the algorithms and all that shit. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, so I don't know what they're doing. I mean, but since Elon got it, whatever he's doing. But, so this is a place where you can find us. We're not going anywhere. The hype videos, I'll always put them on Twitter, but they'll be here. All the shows with Cowboys Cave, me and Jimmy D, Kelly K9, we're going to be here. So this is a great central spot. And the thing is sharing, it doesn't cost you anything. Subscribing doesn't cost you anything. I promise you, we're never I'm not doing, and it's no disrespect to others. I mean, that's their business. We do this for fun. There's not going to be super chats and pay for this and pay for this subscription. Yeah. That's not the way we do it. I do it for the love. I mean, this is the best time for me. It's stress relief. From a hard day's work. I love talking, sports and with Jimmy, a friend of mine for, 30, 40 years, whatever it's been getting crazy, 30 plus years.
Been a minute.
Just have a good time, man. And that's, and we want to interact with the fans. And, I love Ultra Cowboy. And even though he's not a Cowboys fan or he's a disgruntled fan, and I get if you're a disgruntled fan, I can't hate on you. I'm kind of getting over it too sometimes, but they always reel me back in.
Michael Corleone. Hey, all I'm saying is when we're back here next Monday, Patrick Kane better be on Broadway wearing a Rangers jersey. I'm going to be really pissed.
Yeah. So anyway, we are done. Jimmy, I don't have access. I can do one quick outro. It's weird. I got halfway down, so we'll get an outro. We're working on some outros. That's why I got to get with Jimmy. We got to do some cuts and mix things up. I told Kelly the same. We're trying to redo some of these outros and intros and get our stuff grooving. So we're going to get it right, but I appreciate it. Jimmy, you got any parting words?
No, thanks for everybody coming out. It was fun. Like Mike said, please, join us every Monday here, Thursday nights. And hey, everybody have a great week and looking forward to talking to you next week.
Yep. We'll be live Thursday. So if you want to talk a lot of Cowboys, it's all going to be Cowboys on Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central. May pop in every now and then. You never know, but definitely be here Thursday night. You guys take care. Appreciate you joining the show.
Gonna handle that business. We gotta get hype. Can you feel me? Now, can you dig it?